Florence Bascom is a well-known female geologist who conquered many achievements in geology. Florence was born in July of 1862 in Massachusetts. During this time, women didn't have equal rights, and attaining a degree from a university was rare and difficult. More universities started becoming more open to the idea of having women study, but not many actually had the resources or opportunity to. Keep in mind, this is actually during a time when women didn't even have the right to vote. If that doesn't put anything into perspective, I'm not sure what will. Women were expected to marry, have kids, and just be the perfect stay-at-home wife. And that wasn't exactly what she wanted. Luckily for her, her father, John Bascom, and her mother, Emma Curtis Bascom, were big advocates for the women's rights movement. I would definitely say this played a really big role in Florence's desire and ability to go to school and pursue an education. Her dad especially played a vital key for her academic success. John Bascom worked in education, and like I said earlier, they encouraged their kids to pursue that as well. He became the president of the University of Wisconsin. And so this actually enabled her to attend there at that university and to gain not one, but 2 bachelor degrees. As if one wasn't really enough. She had to go for 2. You can just tell that based off of her journals, letters, and findings that she seemed to just have a really big natural appetite for knowledge, and a really big passion for geology. And this kind of started earlier. After she graduated, she accepted a position at Rockford Female Seminary as a teacher. And here she was surrounded by other encouraging people, such as her principal, Anna Jelson, who received a degree as well from University of Michigan. And I believe these environments are actually what shaped her desire to grow. And so it's just funny that her dreams still weren't being met. Even after being a teacher, she still wanted to further her studies and get a master's degree. But sadly, these schools across the U.S. didn't actually offer any graduate programs for women, so she just became a forerunner and paved the way for many others. With good recommendations from faculty, teachers, and her father, she was able to wiggle her way into Johns Hopkins University. And by wiggle, I mean fight. She was actually accepted, but only on certain terms. These conditions were that Florence wasn't allowed to attend the same field studies, class lectures, and labs that her male peers were allowed to. So she actually had to meet with her professor, George Hunting Williams, who was a well-known and well-established geologist. He was employed by the USGS. She didn't have the opportunity as the other men, but she did great things and found great remarkable research. And in her field work in the South Mountain, which is where she oftentimes would go out and study, she grew a deep love for petrology. By the way, the South Mountain of Pennsylvania, is near Pennsylvania and Maryland. So she grew a deep love for petrology, which is the study of rocks, rock layers, and complex conditions under which they form. In her findings, she grew some remarkable evidence showing that the formations of the mountain weren't actually how scientists originally thought. The formations were previously regarded as sediments, but from compiling her own stratigraphic records, she found them to be altered volcanic rock, which is pretty awesome to be the first person to discover that. And that honestly just paved a way for the growth of geology and petrology. So after she graduated with her master's program, she moved on to become a teacher at Ohio State University. She taught there for 2 years before moving on to Bryn Mawr College. And this is probably where the rest of her success really comes from. As a teacher, she formed the geology department, and it had a really good reputation, as you can imagine from her resume. But even her students went on, and they ended up working in places like World War II They also went on to be really great teachers and, just becoming really successful geologists with other remarkable findings. Even in total, she made over 40 articles, and she even worked for the USGS. All of these accomplishments, both academically and in geological data, are what make Florence Bascom greatly admired by the world of science, especially for women scientists.